but I don't think that it's with this dwarf star. Okay, so I actually think this is the star of the Son of Man that's coming. I think the Son of Man of Acts chapter 3, starting at verse 22, I think he's about to appear, and he's going to begin the restoration of all things. I mean, that's what I think, as far as my Bible interpretation. But I try not to allow that to creep into my scientific study, and I try to do it with timelines scientifically, So, but I am sure that it does bleed into my work, And if you notice that, if you feel like it's defiled, I understand completely, because everything I touch is it has a part of Scripture in it. For me, that's just the way that I am. Open mind.
No, I feel I'm going to be bounced for saying this, but unfortunately, you can't say it's a scientific theory if you have a belief that God is directly influencing it in some way. Unfortunately, that as a non-God, you cannot, scientifically falsify a God. You cannot falsify the sentiment God did it. It just, unfortunately, it's something beyond our ability to measure, our ability to quantify, our ability to make or break with evidence. It's a philosophical and supernatural explanation. Therefore, it's outside of naturalistic science, Mike Free.
It's an interesting hypothesis, but surely you can. That's to say that a Christian cannot possibly do anything scientific. That's just false. You can pick through my science and find fault with it and help support it, or help summit is a dwarf star, and it's supported by the evidence in that link list. That's from scientific papers, like from Mins Ago to Cornell. It's it's based on a lot of things that have to do strictly with science. But I can agree with you that from your opinion, from your perspective, that it's flawed, that there's something flawed in the process. But that's what you're here for. This is not the closing. This is not the end. I'm not the end all. A lot of those links came from other people, and you can add to it. That's what you're here for. So give us your evidence to support or reject the hypothesis, and then you can help the investigation, and you can weed out whatever weakness you see from my Christian bias. Open mind.
A valid hypothesis would be that there is a dwarf star that will directly influence finer points of your theory are. Just if you add the words because it's God's will, or because God is doing it, or what have you, that doesn't validate it from being a scientific theory. As long as you keep those words out of it, or the words I believe, or things like that, you have to keep it completely falsifiable. I.e., that where you say that you believe that on this date, or you believe that within this time frame, that X planet is going to cause X problems on this planet, and it has caused the problems in the past, so that your hypothesis would both be predictive and explanatory, and that would fit with a scientific hypothesis. Mike Free.
I just want to ask, you keep saying that the Russians say this thing has been controlled. Is there any link on where the Russians say that, and is that link from accredited?
Go to the link list. I gave you the date, March the 1st. You can Google it. March 1st, Russian warning, controlled. That's their story. It's not my story. Exactly who covered the story, you could probably find 3 or 4 or 10 different people that cover the story, and you can decide if it's credited or not. But it's part of the link list. There's also a warning from China that there's something following it too. That's part of it too. And warnings from NASA about the solar threat that's coming up with the photons, extra photons and stuff like that. So there's plenty of warnings there. But as far as if they're credited, or if they're even reputable or whatever, then that's for you to decide. Open mind.
Well, I understand that. obviously you've put it out there. I'm not bashing. I'm just asking. I'm looking deep.
Oh, it was easy for me to include that in the link list early on because I thought it was controlled too before they said it, because I was tracking it in February and the inbound trajectory numbers were changing and the perigee number did not change. The fall alignment number did not change. The day 1122 stayed the same. Well, how do you change the inbound trajectory of an object on the days and not change the perigee day? That's impossible. That means the velocity had to change, but why is it slowing down later if it's sped up? It's impossible. Once you the perigee day, the fall alignment day, all of them should change, but it didn't happen that way. That's what made me think, holy cow, there's something wrong. Something's going wrong here. And then that was during February. So I'm changing the days on the inbound part of my timeline. But then the Russians came out with their controlled thing, and then it all of a sudden made sense to me that they were seeing the same thing. So whenever it came out, I didn't even check to see who was carrying the story. I just saw that the story was there, and it made sense to me. So if anybody finds flaw with it, that's what we're here for. You guys are researchers too. You go to the link list, and you say, hey, this one's suspect right here, March 1st, Russian, 2011, controlled. Those are the keywords. Open mic.
Yeah, I'm gonna call that actually suspect. I just tried to take the reference link onto mil.ru, which is the official Russian military website, where this man who supposedly warned Medvedev about Elenin being controlled would be in direct control of the site, and it says the link never existed. At least if my Russian is anywhere as good as it used to be. If not, I can get my girl friend up here. She is Romanian Russian. Her mother's Russian, her father's Romanian, and she's actually from Romania. But that notwithstanding, she does speak Russian fluently. So I could get her up here to confirm what I just read. But the Russian military site actually says it's the site or the page not found, page never existed. Mike Free. And for the record, the last thing I read in Russian was about a warning Putin put out to the Americans called Operation Biological Shield, where he was basically boasting that he was going to restart his biological weapons program, especially working chimeric viruses and bacteria that use biological toxins to attack the nervous system. But again, that was about a year ago now.
So that story has the stacked images, the four of them. I believe that's what the picture's of Elenin Comet. Notice how it kind of has a tail, and how it's kind of falling from from the upper right to your lower left. And this is taken from way, way out there when it was first discovered last year. But try to find another one that has some kind of tail. Good luck. And this thing is, look at the thing. As it gets nearer to the sun, it's like it's 500 million miles away from the sun there, but it seems to be reacting to the sun, okay? But whenever it's 1.8 AU away, still nobody can see it. Then it gets closer. Where's the tail? Where's the coma at? We're not getting those kind of pictures because they don't seem to match what was was originally discovered. Open mic.
I'm gonna jump mic real quick. I have 2 seconds worth of. That's Hill Bop in that picture that you just posted. Whoever posted that saying that was Common Element is mistaken. That I would recognize Hill Bop without a second look. It was the first comment I ever saw as a kid.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out something. If I was outside looking, because I've been seeing something that looks like it's got like wings on it, red wings. But tonight it's very far off and it's darker, and you're not seeing the red wings like you normally would. Could that be where the alignment's taking place?
I'm not sure what you're talking about exactly, but any alignment that is going to take place is going to take place between the sun and this thing we're tracking, and the new moon and the earth. So if you, at noontime, you walked out and looked straight up at the sun, you'd be looking at the alignment taking place. Nothing to do with anything in the nighttime sky. Open mic.
Mic check, mic check. Okay, I have a question for Terral about religion. First, I want to ask you if you know about the book of Enoch, and if you know about that, what opinion you have about that particular book. Thank you. Mic open.
No, it's not one of the works that I've keyworded or read or worked with. 66 books of scripture is what I've read of scripture, and even the Quran I've keyworded, but not the Book of Enoch. I apologize for my ignorance. Open mic. I just have not done it.
I've actually read the first book of Enoch. It's actually quite compelling. Again, I'm not a theist. I'm not going to call myself an atheist. I have a weekend to kill. I'd actually say it's one of the most compelling books ascribed to the Old Testament purely for the story behind it. I mean, if you like a gory good time and a little bit more insight into the mythos behind the Satan and the devil and the fall of the angels and Noah, Book of Enoch is a much respected book for that. It was even quoted in the Bible, I believe, by Jesus himself, Mike Free.
Okay, Mars, in position. So what he did was he took 4 pictures and he stacked them on top of each other to gather the image, and those appear to move. And so those background images, those background stars, they moved 4 times. With 1, 2, 3, 4, you got 4 images of those, but the stationary image is what supposedly he's getting a picture of, and that's what he's taking credit for the discovery of this Elenin comet, with using the stacked images from the 18-inch reflector telescope in New Mexico. That's the cover story, I believe. Open mic.